My name is Commissioner Frank Avila, and I'm a commissioner at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And the name of our show today is Activists Helping Animals and the Planet. And as my guest, I have Robert Grillo. He's the Executive Director of Free From Harm and organizer for the Slaughter Free Chicago campaign. And my second guest is Kara Williams. She's Free From Harm board members and organizer for the Slaughter of Free Chicago campaign. Thanks for being on the show, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you for
Kara.
having us.
Yeah. You know, the question, Free From Harm. Tell us about Free From Harm.
Sure. So in 2009, I decided to put my website design and building skills to use for a cause that I felt like was important to me. So I built the Free From Harm website and in 2009, and it became kind of the basis for what we would later do and what our strength would be, which is our online presence and our social media presence. So today, for example, our website reaches about 2 million visitors a year.
Interesting.
And our social media platforms reach several million more, especially the Facebook platform. So that was from the beginning, the challenge was how can we reach a lot of people with the message of animal rights and environmentalism.
And that's Free From Harm.
Yeah.
Free From Harm is
right.
Animal rights.
And yes, and environmental issues,
Environmental,
and really, we look at it as all species rights, and we include humans as a species because we're all part of the animal world. So we're just another species, and the idea is it's not an us and them world. The reality is that we live on a planet that we dominate and that we must be stewards of. Rather than exploiters and dominators, if we want to survive for ourselves, let alone all the other species that rely on us for their own survival.
Sure, and we're all creatures in the planet. And think of that, is that we all need water to live.
Yeah.
We're creatures, and one of the main criteria for us to live is water.
Right. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, where are you today now in Free From Harm?
So Free From Harm does a lot of online activism.
Okay.
So like every week we have a campaign or an action alert that goes out, and 1 week it might be contact the producers of NPR.
Oh.
They did a show to try to educate their audience 1 week about animal behavior and how animals respond to natural disasters.
I see.
Sounded great on the surface.
Yeah.
But then the person they have as the guest to talk about animal behavior is a celebrity hunter who has a show on Netflix called Meat Eater. And he's going to be the voice of animal intelligence and behavior. And to us, that was appalling.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the show that they really had?
It was real. It was on a Here and Now show. So I'm just giving you an example of the kind of stuff we would do.
So this is why you're the activist.
That's where the activism comes
Well,
from.
that's good.
So we rally our troops and we tell people to call and email.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do actions where we actually show up at the offices of whoever the power broker is that we're trying to reach. And
Interesting.
So yeah, we're very involved in like grassroots activism, and we take it online. Yeah. We go into the streets for it, wherever we need to go.
And you got started this in 2009.
Right.
What was your background before that?
My background before that was in like some food advertising and marketing. And I actually, when I first started out as a young man working as a freelance graphic designer, I was working on food accounts like McDonald's and like literally, working on Happy Meal box designs and stuff and packaging and that's where I started out.
You just changed your mind because you wanted to save the planet. You want to save the creatures on the planet.
Yeah, I don't know how it happens, but a light switch goes off in your mind. You see something that really resonates and really shakes you.
Sure.
And I think that happened to me in like 2007 and 8. I started seeing footage inside of farms and slaughterhouses, and I started seeing how the devastation of the environment was playing out because of animal agriculture. And not just animal agriculture, but obviously that's a big contributor. And I just started really having a shift in thinking about it, and realized that I had ignored this all my life, and that wasn't okay.
Well, I think we need people like you, Robert, to be an activist for Free From Harm.
We need more activists.
Now,
Yes.
Kara.
Yes.
Now, how, tell us a little about yourself, how you got involved in Free From Harm,
Yes.
what your role is now, and what you will be doing for Free From Harm in 2020.
Wow. Well, yeah, I first came across Robert, I think it was, we said 2016. He was doing an in-person talk up in Evanston. And I was so impressed by what he was saying, and also by the huge change he had made in his life, having given up the whole corporate track to dedicate himself 100% to the cause. And I was sort of taking baby steps in that direction, but he was kind of my hero in having just making such a big leap. And he had written a book also called Farm to Fable, which I read, and I just kind of became a little bit of a groupie, I want to say. And so I met with him and I said, how can I help? I'm a teacher, so in the summer I have a lot of free time, and I wanted to get involved and see what I could do. And it was right at about the same time that I reached out and started talking to you that you were just starting to get Slaughter Free Chicago going. So I was helpful in the beginning. I worked with him on sort of the framework. What is this Slaughter Free Chicago campaign going to be, and how's it going to work, and who's going to do what? So that got started, and that was a really exciting campaign as well.
Well, that's going to blend, and you read his book. So, Robert, you're an author also. You must.
Yes. You only become an author after you publish a book. I hear no matter how much online blog posts you write, they still don't consider you an author. Isn't that interesting? Like you have to write a book, and then people see you start defining you as an author.
So you have Free From Harm. Now you're starting Slaughter Free Chicago. What is Slaughter Free Chicago, since Chicago used to be the major stockyard here in the United States? I mean, everyone used to ship their livestock to Chicago.
Yep, so Slaughter Free Chicago, we launched in late 2018 in the third quarter, and Slaughter Free Chicago is a campaign to end slaughter, like you said, in the city that once promoted itself as the slaughter capital of the world. Literally promoted itself. Over 500,000 tourists went through the Union stockyards to witness animals, this huge industrial meat packing and slaughter complex. There was nothing like it in the world at the time. And while many people were horrified by what they saw, they were also mesmerized by the technology, because this was a symbol, and in a way, almost kind of a brilliant piece of propaganda to get people to think that this was a great advance in the Industrial Revolution.
In the technology?
Yes. And so, then comes Upton Sinclair and writes the book The Jungle. And shows us a very different reality behind this industry. A reality where a few families are making enormous fortunes on the backs of countless workers and animals. And that's the side of the history that we are seizing and saying, we're going to finish what Upton Sinclair started. His role was to expose this industry. And ours is to say, to expose it, but also to end it, because we no longer need no longer need to rely on animals, and it doesn't fit with our values today as a society to do to animals what's going on in these places, and it doesn't fit with our values to exploit the environment and have all these other impacts today. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, I remember going to grammar school. We had a tour of the stockyards.
Really?
Yes, a tour, and our tour consists of going through the different steps on how they slaughter an animal. And I think it was a hog or a pig that it came in, they were lined up, came into the room, and they clipped something on the leg,
Right.
turned them right upside down, and their head was down, and they had a guy at the end with a spear
Yeah.
and spearing them
Yeah.
and just moving along.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a conveyor belt.
Yeah, conveyor belt there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever taken a tour like that, but
No.
it was. I still clearly still remember that tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, it's appalling to think of a child witnessing that. But on the other hand, now I feel like we're at such an opposite extreme. We're so removed from the reality of what these animals go through their whole lives so
Yeah.
that we can have a little piece of meat.
Yeah.
I mean, even a lot of the live poultry in the small slaughterhouses in the city, you'll see their signs out front. It looks like a beautiful field where the
Right.
animals are frolicking in the
Yeah.
sun, and the reality is these animals have never seen the sun. They've never
miserable.
felt grass.
Right.
They've lived horrendous lives of torture and cruelty, and we don't want that in our neighborhoods anymore, in our communities.
That's right.
And that's why I do a plant-based diet.
Yeah. We do too.
Same here.
and I'm more healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
You
they-
look great.
Right.
for-
They all say,
by the way.
where do you get your protein? Well, our body has a small amount of protein.
Yeah.
You get your protein from nuts, from beans. There's a lot of avenues to get your protein.
Yeah.
But what is the most important part that you want in your body is water.
Yes.
Right.
65% of your body is water. So we should talk about where do you get your water
Right.
instead of
And-
protein.
And why we don't drink enough, right?
Right. And then look at a cow. Where does he get his protein from? What does he
The
eat?
plants.
Plant.
Right.
Grass.
Grass.
Yes.
See, I mean, these large animals, where are they getting their protein? Grass,
Right.
plant-based. So we should concentrate and to stay healthier too.
And the water usage too. There's a lot of information now about how much water it takes to produce one hamburger.
Yeah.
How much
Sure,
water these
yeah,
animals
sure.
need versus to grow the plants
Sure.
that are better for us
Sure.
in the first place.
Yeah,
So as water
absolutely.
becomes more and more a focus environmentally, how do we use our water responsibly? We need to turn away from
Sure.
the animal food-based
Yeah,
agriculture.
water is
waste.
life. Now, so that's why it's important Chicago specifically goes slaughter-free
Yes.
because of the book
Well, the history we
history.
have here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, used to be, and back of the yards, the
Yeah.
stockyards. What about the rest of the country?
Yeah.
I mean, if you eliminated it here in Nebraska,
Yeah.
in Iowa, we've been reading about
So-
what's going on there.
The reason why we're focusing on Chicago first is because of the fact that it's the birthplace of industrial slaughter. Now, if we're able to end that industry here, it will send a message. It will be a symbolic victory that will send a message to other cities. And actually, we already have other chapters. We have a Milwaukee chapter that was able to kill a deal in Milwaukee. Strauss wanted to build a $60 million slaughterhouse in
Yeah.
Milwaukee, and the activists there mobilized very quickly and got that deal
yeah.
killed, which is awesome.
Yes.
It may rise up again, they
Sure.
may try to pass it, but my point is, New York City is another brand new chapter that just was established. So there's already other cities coming on board, and cities are the incubators of change. By focusing on a place where there's really the issue, we then start a dialogue that goes everywhere. And this is really this is a model that Martin Luther King Jr. actually advised. He said that you start in the place where the injustice is the greatest or the most symbolically important,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
then it becomes a phenomenon
Interesting.
everywhere.
And we're in 2020, we're all talking about how to save the planet. We got climate change.
Right.
We got water. And we're saying, let's save the planet. But what is the key to saving the planet? What your group is doing.
Right.
What your group is doing is to save the planet. Climate change. Everything comes down to what you want to propose.
Right. And
Imagine that. Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Even
thank
land
you.
usage as well, right? Because with the population, the human population growth, it's just not sustainable
Right.
to maintain this American type of diet where
Right.
so much land has to be devoted
Right.
to raising crops to feed our
feed
food
animals.
Right.
instead of just using the land to raise our food,
Right. And then most of the crops that we raise is towards the
to feed the animals.
feed the animals.
Feed the animals, like what, 70%
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
crops
big.
we grow?
And then when they grow these kind of livestock, they put fertilizer down, pesticide, herbicide, synthetic herbicide, everything that is not good for the planet.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Then you have the huge manure lagoons
Right. Yeah.
that create waste and pollution
So
back into our
yeah,
water.
so what you're doing, you're trying to save the planet, climate change, everything.
And, you know, we're up against a new, so we have a new mayor, and yet this mayor has not yet really had any statement about her position on climate change and what the city can do. We have, in our 12-point case for closing slaughterhouses, several points that actually could, that the mayor could use to as part of an initiative to curb climate emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. If she would be a pioneer and spearhead a plant-based food system and promoting that, she could curb greenhouse gas emissions of Chicagoans by quite a bit. There's a lot of things that tie into this, and so we're really working on getting the mayor's attention on this right now.
Interesting. And you know, you're talking about the plant-based diet. We have a lot of vacant lots throughout the county here.
That could be farms.
That
or
could be
gardens.
little farms.
Yeah.
Little, we just did a show with the Mike Novak show where he's talking about plants. I mean, we could have these vacant lots here of vegetable gardens,
Right.
Yeah.
healthy vegetable gardens.
Right.
And for the communities where these slaughterhouses still exist, would you rather live next to a slaughterhouse or a community garden?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the people around these slaughterhouses have to deal with
Sure.
the smells, the trucks coming in, the unloading. It's
Right.
not
We're
a
staying
pleasant
healthy,
thing.
and you're staying healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
key. Now, Kara, what kind of things have you been involved with the Slaughter-Free Chicago campaign?
Right. Well, there's
Many
actually
things.
a lot of different ways you can get involved, and lots of people can get involved. We need more people all the time.
Sure.
We do things like we participate in marches and rallies to just spread information. We've done leafleting at different events. Like when it first got started, there was Vegan Mania, where we did a lot of leafleting. And then we actually go into the communities and talk
Yeah.
to the people who live around the slaughterhouses
yeah.
and let
Right.
them know that a lot of these slaughterhouses are not even supposed to be operating
And that they
in
can
a
file
residential
complaints.
zone.
Is that right?
Yes,
Huh?
there are existing ordinances
Yeah.
and laws that are
Yeah.
not being enforced correctly,
Yeah.
Right.
and that they can do something about it. They can file complaints.
Yeah.
In fact, the new the 311 app
Yes.
makes it very easy. So we teach them how to do that,
Yeah.
how to call their alderman, contact the mayor, and just take action.
Yeah.
And the more people we can get to do that,
Yeah.
obviously it gains momentum, which we're already seeing happen.
We're seeing results already from the 311 complaints.
Oh.
See, the city launches this
The
big
311
the city launched this big new ad campaign
Yeah.
to promote their new 311
Yeah, yeah,
app, the
yeah.
phone app. Well, that's perfect for us because now people know that they can use that,
Yeah.
and we can show people how to file the complaint. The city has gotten flooded with complaints
Interesting.
about these slaughterhouses.
We just started now?
No, this has been going on for
Oh.
over a year now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's already resulted in a few closures.
Okay.
So we're down to, we started out with maybe 14 poultry markets and 2 large animal slaughterhouses, and now we're down to, we've got 3 that are pretty much history, and now a 4th one just this week. So yeah, we're already starting to see the results of that pressure from the
Yes.
311 complaints, from the activism that we're doing at City Hall to try to get BACP and the Public Health Commissioner's attention and the mayor's attention, and so we're starting to see the results now.
That's very interesting. Now, do you have workshops that you give once a month or once a week that people could come and to one of your workshops? Are you having in the future you might have these type of workshops also?
We
do have meetings.
We do have meetings.
Organizer meetings.
Invite everybody to and try to do training and all that.
And spread the word and let people know where these slaughterhouses are, that they can go and they can actually just go in and look around and kind of see if there's any obvious problems and issues
that they can report on.
That they can report and like continue to put pressure to have the laws enforced, the inspections actually done to the degree they're supposed to be done. So we want to recruit as many people to our team as possible.
Sure, and we're starting out the year 2020. So what are your goals now in 20, you know, we got the whole year now, 300 and 63 days more?
Yeah, it's nice to have a fresh start, isn't it?
Yeah, because this takes a lot of time, a lot of planning.
Oh, yes.
A lot of, how to approach it, the strategy.
Absolutely.
I mean, it takes, and because we have to change the people behavior.
Yes.
Right.
It's hard to change a behavior.
Here's what's really interesting is that when we do public outreach, we find that even people that aren't vegetarian or vegan, that don't have a sense of animal rights or what we're talking about, like a sense of the climate emergency and what needs to happen to remediate it, we find that everyday people are very much supportive of what we're doing. Because, like Kara said earlier, nobody really wants one of these places in their backyards. Now, the nice thing about this campaign is that it's very focused on ending the slaughterhouses, but it also raises the awareness of the public and city officials into thinking about how we consume.
How we consume?
And what we need to do to get more on board with the future, and the future that, if we want to have a future here.
Yes.
I think it's a really cool awareness building campaign. So it serves that purpose as well as having a very tangible purpose of closing the slaughterhouses through legal means.
I think now do you bring health into the picture also?
Oh, yes.
I mean, how a person can stay healthy by changing their diet to like a plant-based diet, and why it's going to help that person.
Well,
because our kids are being born with adult diseases now.
Yeah, see, the focus is on changing the system rather than changing on individuals. That's kind of one of the important principles that we operate on, is we want to get the mayor and those that really can change the system on board. Because if we can get their support, then they have so much power to introduce healthy food options in places that don't currently have them.
I see.
So that's where we're hoping to affect the change, rather than, we want to do individual change as well, but we really need the power brokers on board.
I see. Now, your group, Free from Harm or Slaughter Free Chicago, those are two groups that you have. What other groups are you working with to work together?
Sure.
Because you're going to have to work with another group to solve their problem, and they're going to work with your group to solve their problem. So who are these groups?
So a couple I'll just mention. First of all, the Slaughter Free Chicago is a campaign of Free from Harm, for clarification's sake. So it's our big campaign right now. Free from Harm is the nonprofit behind it. The other groups that we've recently been having very good collaborative success with is Animal Save Movement. Animal Save Movement. Which also has a Planet Save and Health Save and Climate Save component to it.
Actually, first time I heard of that group.
It's based it was begun by Anita Krajnik in Toronto, Canada area. Now it's an international. There's chapters, hundreds of chapters all over the world.
What's the name again?
Animal Save Movement.
Animal Save movement.
Yes.
For
And it has
sure.
the same model that we're looking at with slaughter-free, where it's different chapters in different
Yeah.
cities.
Yeah.
So there'll be like Toronto Animal Save, Chicago Animal Save, and then the same thing with
Right.
Slaughter-Free Chicago.
So you're working with that group now.
Yeah, the New York City chapter is a study in how we could collaborate between Animal Save and slaughter-free cities. So this is our first experiment in that, and it's working out really well, and it could lead to other chapters that already have Animal Save movements that want to do the Slaughter-Free Cities campaign as well. Another group that really inspires us is Extinction Rebellion.
Extinction
Rebellion, and also Animal Rebellion is a component of that focuses attention on animal agriculture's impact on the climate crisis, rather than just, whereas Extinction Rebellion or most of the other environmental groups just say fossil fuels, it's all about the energy sector, and that's where the problem is. We